starting with today. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. Should we start with the first question?
Sure.
Let's go ahead, Lucy.
Why is sustainability so important today?
Who wants to take that one in the very first place? Shall I start?
Go ahead, Tobias.
Okay. Well, I think sustainability is important for the consumers, especially the younger consumers, since they see that the earth gets polluted. We all see global warming, and everybody's trying to be as sustainable as possible. This is the main driver from my perspective, but also, let's say, some rules and regulations in specific countries, or like we have here in the States and California, are very much focused on that to avoid plastics. So paper is definitely a more sustainable approach if it comes to packaging, or of course into printing. And I think in our in the world we are in the textile industry, the textile industry doesn't really have the best reputation, since we are one of the world's largest polluter if it comes to CO2, water consumption, gas, and we try to make it as sustainable as possible.
Excellent, thank you. Mark, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, it goes without saying that the fate of our planet is to improve the sustainability across the board. Every industry, government, brand, and individual has a role to play. And like Tobias already mentioned, the textile industry specifically, a lot of water is wasted by clothing and textile industry. We already have internally the information that around 2,700 liters of water is needed to produce a shirt, which, if you put into perspective, is people can drink like 2.5 years from that water. And with this in mind, it's clear that there's room for improvement, and that we are for sure make positive changes right now.
That's great. Thank you very much. Raphael, would you like to add to that?
I think that sustainability must be a part of our life from a private and also during our job. Must be the driver, because we have to change all the way how we move in our life. As Mark and Tobias says before, we cannot go ahead in this way to consume water, electricity, and gas every day. We see how it's important to save, and specifically textile industry have to make a big step on this direction to reduce the consumption.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. So moving on to the next question. Mark, we'll go with you first. What role does sustainability play in your company's overall strategic plan?
It's a high priority issue for the entire global business. Right now, we are in the process of developing a company-wide initiative that will further support our goals. It's a little bit early for this webinar, but this important initiative will be launched officially beginning of next year. So we will share some more details later. But yeah, we are very happy with this exciting project.
Excellent, thank you. Tobias, what would you like to add to this?
Sure. For us, it's a very important role, since next to the textile industry, also the paper industry itself is a large consumer of electricity, gas, water, and being now as Beaver Paper as part of the Köhler group, we've done a lot of things into this direction to really reduce our water consumption by producing paper. We try to be energy neutral in 2030 as an entire organization. We have also, and this is, I think, a very smart idea of our mother company, to found a second, or one of my sister companies, literally, as Köhler Renewable Energies. So where we have wind parks, solar panels. Also for Beaver, we get solar panels hopefully in the beginning of next year onto our production plant in Germany. Since that's the way how it should be. We have to treat our planet right, and we as producers, manufacturers, have to make sure that we use the resources in the right way.
Yeah. Excellent. Raphael, would you like to add to this?
It's how to say, if we make a checklist on each new project, we have to think about sustainability. Starting from R&D, or starting from a new machine that we have to purchase, we have to think if it is something that have a less impact. So we are thinking about to install a new solar panel, to have a new machine that move from traditional way to print to digital. That's a way to save gas and electricity. So how to say, really, it's the first point that we have to make tick on our checklist, a new project.
Excellent, thank you. So the next question is, what are some of the programs or products your company has implemented so far? Raphael, would you like to go first with this one?
In the last few years, we move to be certificate. All of our products that we produce, we try to be certificated by external audit, because it's we trust on that. We trust that it's not enough to say we are nice, we are good, but someone have to say that with numbers. We are real and numbers that confirm what we say. So that's the key point. It's something that our customer ask. It's a must to play the game, especially on textile. We want to play the game like a key player. So that's the first point. Then we have many different projects that also we can talk later, that drive us to make less consumption. Not only in last few months, that is the, how to say, the economy topic became more relevant, related to energy, but it's many different projects that we talk on that to have paper. We sublimate each year 60 million of square meters. If we find the right partner, and we found that help us to have a less consumption on paper, because it's lighter. It's something that is less paper, less weight, less kilo, that go all over the world through trucks, vessel, or flight.
Brilliant, thank you. Tobias, would you like to add to that?
Absolutely. We have a long program. So like I said, so our entire company wants to be carbon neutral in 2030, which is luckily still a few years out, but we're already on the right track for that. And like Raffaele said, so we have to go into this direction at all times, that we really see when we get into new technologies, what he said earlier. So when we get into new technologies, what is the best way? How can we be more sustainable? Are we using resources well? So in the paper industry, we have the FSC Forest Steward Councilship program, which makes sure that the pulp or the trees which are used for our paper come out of sustainable resources, so that they're replanting the forest after the trees were cut down. So those things are very important. I think we don't have something this for the entire industry, where everybody has, I think we have Oecotex, which is, let's say, friendly for the skin. We have FSC certification. Like Raffaele said, we have audits and that everything works well, but everybody's on a different track a little bit. So we're not yet combined forces. But I think this is in the future, we will see more people from the industry also cooperate together, that we go into the right direction. Like Raffaele also mentioned, okay, lightweight paper. So this makes absolutely sense, since you don't have the CO2 footprint of shipping that is lesser. You can ship more material, more square meters in the same box. So which helps the planet to save as well. And I think this is also for us, when we started to have our fully coated 25 GSM, which was a completely shock to the industry, I would say, partly since nobody could do that. And we've been lucky that we have the latest technology to achieve those substances and still coat them. This is the way where we drive. This is the way how we see. This is the only way that it makes sense for the planet and for the consumer.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Mark, would you like to add to this?
Yeah, to be honest, we are a machine and ink manufacturer, which is not, which is a difficult industry to be 100% sustainable. But we have a lot of recycling programs, and they're fundamental for Mimaki. And we have many local programs which are already operating successfully. If you look at the EMEA level, because I work for Mimaki EMEA, we support the recycling of inks and plastics. And next to that, we have a huge program which Mimaki printers at the end of their lifetime are taking back from the customer and giving to the recycling company free of charge. And this company will then resell the iron of the Mimaki printer. So yeah, even at this stage of the printer's lifetime, business can even make money from the Mimaki technology. So this is also something which we can add. And like Tobias mentioning, like the paper, that the Mimaki inks are also certified, Oecotex, or we have for the other inks, we have Green Card Golds. So based on the emissions and the strict requirements, we ensure you that the inks are used for environmental for schools or healthcare facilities. And that is, yeah, that is required for a lot of companies and customers for us.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So moving on to the next question. When implementing these programs, what were the main social, environmental, and economic challenges your organization faced? Who would like to go at this one?
I could, sorry, I can take that one. I think there are not so many challenges if it comes to the main social part. So I think everybody appreciates that if you communicate this in the right way. I think the biggest challenges are, of course, do I get already the equipment I need to be more sustainable? Is the technology there already? And how can I do it? But that you get, let's say, in your workforce, employees, they all understand those topics. So I think there are not so many challenges to implement a sustainable roadmap into your company, since everybody is aware of the topic. So I think every company who wants to start now won't have any backlash. And I think, let's say, from the social perspective, everybody will appreciate that, be it employees, be it customers, since everybody is so much aware of this topic right now. I think the only challenge is, of course, it costs money. Mm-hmm. And do you get the right technology already?
Yeah,
I think the most important thing is to increase and to improve on a daily task your customers, your employees, and your partners. So to improve the awareness of sustainability.
Yes, I think that the main challenge is related to economic, because we are a printing mill. We not easily, but to say, we sublimate paper on polyester fabrics. So the final challenge is the cost. It's only the cost. So if we use often it's still difficult to explain that a GRS polyester costs something more than normal polyester. And so I think that the challenge is only that, because like what says Tobias before, it's a matter everyone appreciate on the paper, on the website, also during the discussion of the social improvements and the environment improvements. But finally, sometimes more than sometimes it happens that the cost is still a wall that is difficult to go ahead.
Is it going to meet, Rafael, is it going to meet each other, the cost of the green polyester with the original polyester? Is it getting better and better, or is it still a huge
on the great fabric? On great fabrics, there are still a difference about 10–15%.
That's a lot for if you print
that's
big
quite a bit, yeah.
Yes, and the competition is high. Main companies sublimate on normal polyester, so it's not that I can average to increase normal and decrease on GRS. So finally, to be competitive on the market, you have still to be competitive on normal polyester and try to reduce as much as possible your margin on GRS to drive the customer in this direction.
Yeah, I think this is the big problem in general, that
Yeah.
the customer likes sustainability, but the customer doesn't want to pay for sustainability.
No.
So we've seen the same. We have the Nature series now, a fabric for point of sale, which we launched last year. And everybody thinks it's a great idea. It's a big hype around it. And then, oh, it's $2 more per square meter. Oh no, it doesn't have to be so sustainable. So I think this is still a point where the people, especially in the fashion, okay, fast fashion, we know it's cheap. You wear it once, you wear it twice. So the people are still looking at the cost. So that's definitely the challenge. Yeah. I agree on that.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. So the next question is, what opportunities or business value have you seen by implementing sustainable programs within your company? Who's wanting to go first at that one?
Yeah, if we look at, if I can start, if you look at our customers, then if there's certification needed, then we are able to offer that to the customer. And that's a big part that you will open a new business opportunity and also the competitive edge to it. So if there's a certification program and you can enter that, this will implement also for the customers, and then the sustainable program is demanding for it.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Did anyone want to add to that?
We just implement a new technology to print on digital pigment in our company, because we have we also move for to do only sublimation paper. We print on viscose and cotton with digital pigment, and that is a direct process without water, without pre-treatment, without post-treatment, and that's a new business, completely new business, because we are well known on the market to print only paper. Now we move on something different. So after 1 year of R&D, we go to the market and try to sell also printed fabric on other composition. Yeah. That's the first new one. The other one is what I introduced before. It's thank you to the collaboration with Beaver. We print 60 million square meters for each year, and before it was a 45 GSM paper, starting from 1 year and a half ago, more or less. We moved to 39 paper. Now we are testing the new one, 25 that Tobias just said before, and think that it's not only 20% of this paper is sublimate inside on our calendar. 80% of that is sell all over the world, and if we use a lighter paper, means less impact on an environment, less cost for the customer because pay less for the transportation. So everyone is happy for this for our goal, for this goal achieved by us thanks to our partner, because it's a matter of partnership. Without that, it's impossible to find new opportunities or something better for all.
How do you feel to take over? How do you feel with the textile pigment ink? Because to be honest, in our company, people are touching it and testing it, but they still falling about color gamut and a little bit the touch and feel.
Honestly, we start on January of last year, and we test many different things, honestly, on pigment, and how to say that the black was light gray, not a dark gray. This picture below me is darker, this one. But step by step is moving. I see on last FESPA, on last fair in Istanbul, everyone is talking about pigment. All the R&D are looking on that, and now only in 1 year and a half that we put a lot of effort on that, I see a big jump. Now we are using a technology. The black is not a reactive black. I don't want to say something that is not true, but is something that the customer can appreciate like a good color, really good gamut, but especially because finally it's still difficult on B2C market. I think about customer of my customer. Again, it's difficult to communicate that we use less water.
Yeah.
But even if we try only 1 minute to don't think about that, it's important the end feel, because it's not home textile. It's something that my wife have to dress and not to think that it's something against her skin. And but the end feel is still nice. Really, it's something that on technology is moving in a crazy way in 18 months. And I think next year is we will see again something more players that are ready to move on that.
Yeah, I agree, and I can tell you, Mark. So I've seen the pigment samples when I visited Rafaela, and it looks really good. So it's still the same struggles, but I think the technology really increases.
Yeah.
And this will help a lot if you get away from the reactive inks and acid inks, more into pigment. The entire industry will save a lot of water, since you don't have to wash necessarily. So, but still some room for improvement. But I think everybody agrees on that. I think pigmented inks are much more developed than we all thought they would be right now. So I think that's a big step here.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that one. Moving on to the next one. What are the objectives and targets of your sustainability efforts, and what progress has been made in meeting your goals?
And I take this one first. Like I said, so we are in the progress to be until 2030 neutral as a company. We just published our first sustainability report. To be very fair, I didn't read it in full since it's very big. We are in good progress of that. So since every single thing we're looking at, be it water consumption for the paper, be it renewable energy so that we can be more self-sustainable, biomass, how about gas consumptions, especially in the current situation in Europe. But also then the other things, so how can you, let's say with solar panels, can I really go into this direction and have my electricity in the company out of renewable energies? So if everything goes well, like I said, so next year we're going to install solar panels at Beaver Paper in Germany. And most likely I don't need, okay, maybe in wintertime, most likely I will still need some energy. But everything else, I will be self-sustainable. And then, of course, I think Germany is a big thing also of company cars. Everybody looks into electric cars right now to be more sustainable. So I think we have a high goal, extremely ambitious, but as Köhler Group, we are on a very good track, I would say. And then, of course, we always try to get more things more sustainable. Doing new projects that we help our customers being more sustainable, so which then helps us as well.
Excellent, thank you. Would anyone like to add more to this? Mark?
Yeah, if we look at Mimaki, we are constantly improving our management system. And we have, the main priority is to efficient use of resources and energy. Reducing industrial waste emissions, expanding the sales of making newer machines which are more environmental friendly, and we like to promote environmental protection activities, and that's why with all these we are strengthening the environmental needs for the customers. That's the most important thing for us.
Brilliant, thank you. And Raphael, would you like to add anything to this?
We are going ahead, maybe middle of next year. We will have installed a new solar panel that cover 25% of our needed on electricity. That's related to electricity. Related to gas, we are in last year. Monthly, many people around the table, we try to move something to change different way to move you in a daily use of energy, starting from the temperature in the office and also the doors, the different way to cover the meal, to try to have less temperature that go outside during the winter. So and then move still again each step that is still produced on rotogravure, try to move on digital. That's also to say yes on the market that ask daily to have less quantity for each design and each color, and the digital say yes is the right answer on that, and also to avoid wastage.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for that. Next question is, how are you measuring your progress on this?
But mainly with LCA, I think so. For example, about pigment, we use that. Then thanks to the energy partner that provide us that, we monitor the consumption daily to check also if all the machine work in a right way, to check if we don't have any electricity gas that is not used in a right way, and that's all. And then also the customer, when come here, they measure ourselves.
Excellent. Mark, Tobias, would you like to add to this? How are you measuring your progress with sustainability influence within your organization?
Well, if you start such a big project, so that's not something easy to do in a paper mill. So you set your targets over the entire timeline, and then, like Raffaele said, so you have to measure, be it with the consumption of electricity, be it water consumption. So these are all KPIs you can measure. And then you can see, am I on the right track? So does this implementation of new technology really reduce my energy consumption? Does it help with the water consumption? So this is a lot of process of measuring, checking, and seeing that it works.
Excellent, thank you. Mark, would you like to
add? I think it's similar with the machine. It's just measure exactly the KPIs, and especially for the energy. Reduce energy on the machine. How much kilowatt does it use during printing? And that's something which we are doing for years, and we are very open in that. And I think that is the best thing to measure the progress.
Brilliant, thank you very much. So the next question is, how are you engaging your employees in your sustainability efforts? Who wants to go first?
Key thing is communication. So it's, I think, in Europe it's a little bit easier, but of course communication still is key. But I think the Europeans are a little bit more aware of sustainability. Nothing against the US, but here it's not as at this point right now. There are some states where the awareness is already here, but not as much as in Europe. But here you just have, it's communication, take them along, tell them of the achievement, what's the plan for the future, and how we get there. So that's the most important thing. So I think in everything, when you want to take your employees along, it's talking to them, explaining, communicating.
And be as transparent as possible with all the processes. Yeah.
Excellent. Raphael, would you want to add anything to this, or would you agree communication is the vital aspect of this?
Daily communication with that, monthly written, something that is delivered to all of them, to see the progress, to see how we are moving. Listen that, because the first proposal must arrive from each employee, can have the right idea on sustainability.
Brilliant, thank you very much. So the next question is, with which groups you are you are partnering with which groups are you partnering regarding key sustainability initiatives?
Well, I think first of all, I think this goes for all of us. First of all, as authorities in each country, there you have to see and discuss with them to get the right parts into that. Then the technology provider, obviously, be it a machine like a printer manufacturer like Mimaki. And then there's a lot of discussions also in between the partners. So like Raffaele said, we've been discussing about a lot of things for a long time and seeing, okay, how can we do everything better together? Since that's a partnership. So you have to go that way. So it's same with Mimaki. So you discuss things. You have ideas. You say, okay, what could be the next step? How can we make things different? How can we make it better for you? And it's a big collaboration in the industry. And I think we are luckily a very, very small industry to a certain degree. It's a very niche market
everybody knows each other.
Exactly, and everybody knows each other. And then you can discuss those things. So, and we all know everybody has a different perspective on this topic. Raffaele from the printing side, Mark from the manufacturing side of the machines and the inks, and myself from the paper side. But at the end of the day, we all have this common goal. And then you just exchange ideas. Then you see, okay, what can you do? And I think that's the most important thing, that we all say, hey, there's one common goal. It's called sustainability, make the planet a little bit greener than it is today, that our kids can still live on this world. And then you stick your heads together, and sometimes you have a stupid idea and this works out perfectly, and you made the planet a bit better.
I think the best is which you both added with a thinner paper shipping all over the world. That it's more environmental friendly, but it's also cost saving. I think if you can merge that, then you have a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent. So moving on to the next question, how would you gauge your supply chain in your sustainability efforts?
For us, it's a must. It's a must on new project that we start, that we decide to develop on our R&D department. We engage our supply chain, like what Tobias and Mark says before. It's honestly, it's easy to collaborate with our supply chain more than with our customer. I talk more related to textile market. Is more on industrial point of view, that can understand easily that if we collaborate, we create, like Mark says before, is a win-win situation. So is the first question of R&D is if we achieve the goal, we need it, is this sustainable? And the second one, which supplier we call. So that's a key point.
Yeah, I think Raffaele is fully right into that. So you always, the cooperation goes also into the other directions. And for us, let's say, it's also, we have to look into our suppliers, be it the pulp, be it the electricity. So you always have to talk to the people in both directions.
Excellent. Mark, did you want to add anything to this?
I think we need to be, because if we look at EMEA region, which we support our machines, it's difficult due to also in the region. If you look at Western or Africa, so we need to encourage our partners to really participate in recycling programs, for example. But it depends on the country how they are doing. Like Tobias is already mentioning, in US they're not so far like in Europe, and this is something we really need to push. And we cannot do this alone. So we have to do this with our partners, and that's something which is sometimes difficult, because people are more looking at the cost than the environmental suspect. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So the next question, how can companies work together to help the industry change to a more sustainable future?
Yeah, we all have to do our bit in order to the transition to change the whole economy. I think that's the most, so part by part, we need to align all the goals and expectations. I think that's the most important thing.
Fully agree on that. There's, I think, nothing much to say on that part, since we all can just push into the right direction and communicate it.
I agree. We have to share the info. Is really well related to the question before. Is if we share the info, if we try to have the same goal, is not easy, but it's less difficult to be to have a future more sustainable.
Excellent, thank you. So this is the last question of this session, and then we'll move on to the questions that we've received from our attendees. So last one, what advice can you give other companies that are just starting their sustainable journey?
Make a clear plan. See where's, let's say, look at the KPIs you have, look at your, be it energy consumption, gas consumption, look at the option, what's outside there. And then the very first thing in general is to make the goal. What do I want to achieve? And then you can just go along the line and say, okay, what kind of possibilities do I have outside there to achieve exactly this goal? Or is it possible?
No. And
then stick to it. I think if you have a good idea, you just need to focus on that and really go the way, even if it might be rocky and stony on the journey, but just stick to your goal. I think that's the most important thing, since we all can just help the environment when we do it, what we want to do.
Constant. Sorry, Rafael, go ahead.
No, sorry. No, I think that we have to, like what this says, step by step, and I think that it's a must that also the economy plan must be sustainable, because finally each development cannot have a look on economic point of view. Otherwise, it's something that we can achieve one day, 1 week, but finally it's not something that can be right for a long future.
Yeah, that's something which we do not have in our hands. For example, we have sometimes in Italy, we have a few months where they promote LED and then they stop it, and 1.5 years later they go further with it. So it goes further than our companies.
Yep. And partly you have to also break up old supply chains.
Yeah.
Since unfortunately the human being is always a bit like, yeah, we've always done it like that. And it works like that, so why would I change it?
Yeah.
I shared this with Mark and Raffaele earlier, so we started to thinking about in the sustainability journey that most of the, be it sports apparel or be it fashion, or everything gets packed into poly bags, plastic, for shipments and so on. And when we saw that, we were like, no way that we're going to do, we want to change that. And that's how we created a product called Tech Seal. It's a little bit hard to see, sorry for that, but it's very transparent. You can also still see, let's say, what color of the shirt would be, what kind of size it is. But it's a nightmare to change the industry thinking. Since poly bags, everybody who's doing this, no, I don't want to change my way. I'm doing this like this. My customer wants it like this. So you just really have to push that. And that's the most difficult way. Or like Raffaele said, so to get the idea of green textile or biodegradable polyester, this is what you can get, but it costs you 10–15% more. So
it looks very nice.
Thanks. I will send you a sample as well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. So that does conclude our session today. Thank you so much, Tobias, Mark, and Raphael. We do have a couple of questions from our audience. So starting off, how do you determine the timeline, duration, or number of year needed to get the achieve from a short, medium, or long-term perspective when setting up a sustainability roadmap?
I think it really depends on how ambitious are your goals in your specific industry. So like I said, so we plan to be carbon neutral until 2030, but this plan is already a few years old. So we know that this is not so easy. So from that perspective, we have our timeline, but we know this is maybe earliest in 8 years down the road. Maybe we might finish this earlier. But to determine, I think it's really, what is your goal exactly? Is the technology already there? Is it easy to change or not? And this determines your timeline, how many years it will take. And then, of course, also your capital is one part as well. Do I have the financial strength of investing so much money? Can I, like Mark said, okay, we get back old printers and recycle them. That's a cost factor.
Yeah.
Can I do that?
You also have to ship them, and it's not easy. Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly. We know how shipping costs are. They are quite expensive nowadays. Yeah. And but you need to have the financial strength for that. This also determines your timeline.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We have had a specific one for you, Raphael. Do you have any idea about the fastness of pigments to industry laundering? Will it be possible to achieve a similar fastness as batt disperse, for example?
For now, the results that we see, the color fastness is not the same as reactive, as disperse, but we are finding a way, because really, even if we already go to the market, the R&D is not finished. It's daily that we try to change the formulation with our partner, and now we are in a way that we are able to achieve the Ecotex certification. To achieve the Ecotex, you must have 4. Based on 1, from 1 to 5, you need to have 4 on color fastness. So I think that we are not on the same or reactive, but we are at 80% now. And any idea about when we achieve that? Again, only 1 year ago we are at 2 on color fastness. In 1 year we are at 4. So I think that everyone is looking on that. So maybe on ITMA, on Milan next year, we will be in the same level.
Excellent. That's fantastic. Thank you, everyone. That does conclude the Q&A session now. And that's the end of our webinar. So thank you very much, Tobias, Mark, and Raphael. It's been lovely chatting with you this afternoon. And thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice day, nice evening.
Yes, and you too.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are.